Thank you for joining me as I finally kick off my science channel. I am so excited to begin making these videos for you guys, and I really hope you'll stick around.
Answers in reality, where the creativity of thought fuses with the power of technology and are tested by the evidence in reality.
So where did our universe come from? Either nothing created something, or an all-knowing, all-powerful God created the universe. Those are your options. Atheists look at believers as retards, and believers look at atheists as retards. We will try to begin together from an unbiased starting position, so we can all reach the same conclusion. So what do we know? For one, the universe is old. Hundreds of independent research data confirm that. Now, that might sound like a very biased starting position to you, but I assure you that a young Earth viewpoint would be far more biased for a couple of reasons. For one, there's no evidence that the Earth is young. And two, the Bible doesn't count as evidence. It's a book, just like the Quran, and we shouldn't increase our validity bias just because something is written down. So if we take the evidence as truth, then the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. So God could have either made the universe 13.8 billion years ago, or made it look 13.8 billion years old. Or the universe came into being from nothing. Saying God did it is pretty self-explanatory. But saying something came from nothing leaves much to be defined. After all, if we're going to credit nothing with the creation of the universe, we should probably define what nothing actually is. There are so many different philosophical arguments for what nothing really means. It would take a very long time to go through them. But thankfully, we have a way of narrowing them down. They are all made-up philosophies. If we truly want to know what nothing really is, we shouldn't be the ones to define it. We should let the universe define what nothing is. Imagine we have a box that we can put in space that blocks out all interference from everything from gravity to neutrinos to the cosmic microwave background radiation. There is literally nothing going into that box and nothing coming out of the box. That is the nothing that we should be defining. So if we put a microscope inside of that box and observe that nothing, zoom in on the nothing and just see what it is, what do we see? We see quantum mechanics at its finest. We see particles and negative particles coming into existence, colliding, and then going out of existence again. The only rules that these quantum fluctuations have to follow is energy conservation. When they come into and out of existence, they can leave no energy behind, and they can take no energy with them. The particles themselves can have as much or as little energy as they want. The more energy, though, the faster that they have to annihilate. It's like the rules. If you want more energy, you have to go out of existence faster. That is what you see when you look at completely empty space. Now, I know that doesn't sound like nothing, but that is the way our universe is. You can argue about other universes with different kinds of nothings, but in our universe, nothing is quantum mechanical. The absolute best we can do is understand our own universe. And our universe says that nothing is quantum mechanical. So in order for that definition of nothing to not proliferate infinitely through space, there has to be something that stops quantum mechanics. So it isn't up to me to argue that quantum mechanics proliferates infinitely through space. If you want to say otherwise, you have to argue as to what created quantum mechanics. That being said, even if quantum mechanics is universal, can it really create a universe? The actual details are a bit fuzzy because, well, quantum mechanics is a bit fuzzy itself. It's like the definition. And this isn't supposed to be a lesson in quantum mechanics, but I'd like to give you something. So like I said before, there isn't a limit to how much energy a quantum mechanical particle pair can actually have. as long as they annihilate quickly enough. So that's all fine and dandy, and we could get enough energy for our entire universe from that process, but it would be annihilated almost instantly. How has ours stuck around for 13.8 billion years? This is where we need good old Einstein. But unfortunately, his theory of relativity doesn't really like quantum mechanics very much. So for the sake of argument, and from a small extrapolation that in the near future we will actually have the theory, we will continue with the hypothetical theory of quantum gravity. Quantum mechanics acts on everything small, from gravity to space and time and every particle. There are literally quantum fluctuations in space and time. So basically, quantum mechanics can create a massive energy particle pair and create a rift in space-time between them, making it unable for them to collide and annihilate. And bingo, you have enough energy for a universe, and you have a universe that doesn't instantly annihilate. And this doesn't violate the laws of quantum mechanics, because like I said, quantum mechanics can create as much energy as it wants. And it also can affect space and time. So if it does both of those in the same spot, while it is very, very, very unlikely, in an infinitely vast universe full of nothing, full of quantum mechanics, there is an infinite probability that it will happen an infinite number of times. So it's really something from nothing. But when you think about it, it's still really nothing, because there's still that negative energy still out there. That theory makes sense. It might not explain everything 100% right now, but saying that a god or an all-powerful being was required to create our universe when no such entity is required to explain any other phenomena in nature seems unnecessary, and it seems a lot less likely than nature in its 100% self-explanatory track record. There is absolutely nothing in nature that can't be explained by nature and a few basic laws. You can't argue that yours is a better hypothesis, because yours has no predictable power. We don't require a god to explain anything else, but as soon as you introduce him, there is so much more that needs to be explained. For one, it's impossible for an all-knowing, all-powerful God to hand out free will. It's like E = mc squared. If you have an infinitely genius mathematician, it is impossible for him to put in the variables and not know the outcome. You can't do it. And if free will is already compromised, and God is all-loving, then why would he allow any evil in the world at all? As soon as we introduce God as the creator of the universe, we have to explain where God came from. Now, either he came from nothing, or another God, and it's just a mess, or he's always been there. In which case, an all-powerful God would have already done every possible thing you can do, including create this exact same universe an infinite amount of times. There's already an infinite amount of you in heaven. And if there's not, that means that God is like destroying you, and he will just kill you. He will annihilate you out of heaven. I'm sorry. It's sad, I know. Heaven isn't forever, though. At the end of the day, I am just looking for truth, as I hope you are. I don't want you to take one bit of what I just said blindly. Go look it up. Do some research. Prove me wrong. If you have a different opinion on this and some different ideas, I would love to hear them. Post them in the comments. Send me a message. I want to talk to you about these things, and maybe we can help straighten this up. And that's it, folkies. I will be back, I promise. I am so excited to kick off this channel, and I hope you liked my first video. We'll talk to you later. There isn't a limit to how much energy a quantum mechanical particle pair, that rift in space is permissible with quantum mechanics. It can do whatever the hell it wants to do, basically. There's nothing quantum mechanics can't do. It is God. We have stuff coming out of literally empty space. There's literally something from nothing in our own empty space. And I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Also, if an all-powerful being has been sitting on his throne for an eternity, then literally every possible thing that he could possibly do, he's done an infinite amount of times, including create this exact universe. There is an infinite number of you already in heaven, and if there's not, then he has been chucking them out the window. So I guess eternity isn't actually eternity. You might want to find a different god.